Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to start the Follow Your Dreams, Turning What You Love into a Career Gaming Edition panel. Jeremy Bregermann, come out. This is our guy. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Bregermann. Thank you, Jeremy.
What up, Stellar Con? Woo!
Yeah!
At the APGFCU Arena! Woo! Who's excited? I'm here to talk to you guys about following your dreams. That's something we all need to do with our lives, is follow our dreams. I have been playing video games my whole life. In high school, I was like, man, I need to turn this into a career. And so you just continue to do the steps. And also, this is a free-form sort of thing. So if you have questions, you're like, oh my God, I need to ask something, just pop up. Somebody's got a microphone. Oh dear. Anyway, so following your dreams. How do you do that? What's up? Something wrong? Okay. Okay. How do you do that? You decide what your dreams are. What do you love? Do you love programming? Do you love art? Do you love anything, like anything? And then put yourself in a position to do more of that. I go to gaming conventions. I get up on a stage and I talk to people. And don't let people tell you that you can't do things, that you can't.
Yep.
Are we good? Okay. Anyway, performance jitters, am I right? So, I made a company back in 2015 called Luna Wolf Studios with an amazing dude called Jeff Fisher. Love that man, he's wonderful. And we did that because we were in college. We had just worked for a gaming company, and we decided we can do this ourselves. And making a company is actually quite not very difficult. The hardest part is making a name. We sat there with a whiteboard and just went at names, and our 15th choice was Luna Wolf Studios. And so we started making games, and all the things you need to make games are free, like Unity, the game engine that most people use, or Unreal, both of them free to download. Blender is a wonderful 3D modeling program. Animation, texturing, really pretty. And you can use Audacity for audio. So if making games is your dream, do it. And anybody that says that hard work is necessary is wrong. Because you don't have to work hard. You don't have to grind and grind and grind and grind. You can just sit down an hour a night. Just be like, hey, I want to work on my game now. It's going to be great. And that hour a night, if you're in high school, if you're in college, will put you, by the time you graduate, ahead of anybody you're graduating with. The reason that a lot of people that I went to, that don't end up with the game jobs is because they're just, oh my God, I'm supposed to speak into the mic. Wow, okay, right next to my mouth. Okay, so the game jobs, right? Companies want to see what you've made. They don't care where you went to school, they don't care for how long. I mean, the degree gets you in the door. The degree shows a bit of legitimacy. But the degree alone will be a worthless piece of paper, as many people like to say. Many people like to say that. It's what you do with that piece of paper. And I graduated 3 years ago, right? Yeah, 3. Math is hard. And I just now, last week, landed a really good job. It's a process. It requires patience. It requires sticking to your guns. I've said no way more times than I've said yes to contracts and to opportunities. There's so many people out there who want to take advantage of you, who want to belittle you, because they gain control of you by making you feel like you're not worth as much. They knock down your value progressively, and then eventually you don't think you can do what it is you can do, or that you're not worth a higher price, and so you're being forced to work for this lower amount of pay. So if somebody makes you feel that way, say no to them. Cut them out of your life. We live in a world of the internet where there's millions and millions of people that you at any moment have access to talking to or associating with. If somebody makes you feel awful about you and your work, like, I mean, so like there's a difference, right? There's like Like if like your work is legitimately bad because like you're just starting out, you're a student, you're like constructive criticism is one thing, but people that take your body of work and just point out like the one or two moments or instances where you weren't, doing productive work or where you were off your game, if that's all they can bring up, then they don't value you. And most companies, like 99% of companies, they don't care about you as a human. They care about their money. They care about making themselves money, and they hire people because they believe that paying that person will net them more money than they are paying you. So look out for yourself. Like when you're like navigating a career, and it's not just games, it's video, it's comics, it's art, music. Like I couldn't even imagine trying to be a music person these days. There's just so much good stuff out there. But like when it comes to like who you are and what you do with your life, find what makes you happy, and then find people that value you. And like if it's like a situation, making money, find people that value you with their wallets. Like there's a meme that I shared the other day where it's like the boss is like, oh well, we're going to pay you less than market rate. Is that okay? And the person responds, well, I'm going to give you less work. Is that okay? Like, if you do work one of those jobs, like a Home Depot or a Walgreens or a whatever, don't give them your all. Save yourself for when you're not working for them to build the skills you want to build. Because there's a finite amount of people that are doing what we do. And like, for the game industry, for example, a lot of people are starting to retire, and the industry is growing. Games at this point are overtaking, movies and music, and like they're the go-to form of entertainment. So there is a ton of room, and there's a ton of business use cases as well. Like a lot of what I do isn't making games for, like commercial release. Because one, marketing is very, very difficult. Marketing is a very difficult thing to try to do. So I do a lot of contract work. I do a lot of things for businesses that will never see a consumer's light of day. But people in those positions are starting to see that, hey, this stuff is worth paying for. And I work with virtual reality now, so like it's super businessy. Like, oh, this is a training simulator, but it's virtual reality. And so yeah, does anybody have any questions? You can pop in at any moment. Okay. How are we doing on? Yes, question. My first game. Well, I guess technically the first game I ever played was Count Dracula on the NES. But the first game I released was Haberdashery. That was an endless runner on the, we put it on Newgrounds, we put it on mobile. I think it's off the mobile stores now, because we never updated it. Oops. But you can play it on Newgrounds, and Newgrounds is one of the greatest websites of all time. And then also, like when it comes to like gaming, right? Like, you don't have to stop playing video games. One of the major myths that I've heard and hear repeated from a lot of developers is that once they started making games, they stopped playing games. And this didn't make any sense to me. Like, why are we doing that? Why are we stopping the thing that we love? Because we're working too much. It baffles me. And so, like for me, like most games casually kind of bore me these days. Like once you start making games, you start to understand like how they're made and what's coming, and they're all pretty much designed along some rules, right? There's always the tutorial level, the difficulty scales, like first you jump, and then you jump, then there's a hole, and then you jump and there's an enemy, and it scales up, and then you jump, there's 3 holes and 50 enemies, and oh my god, what's going on? So I speedrun. I hold over 60 world records. I started with Jersey Devil back in 2017? August? Yeah, wow. It'll be 4 years in a couple weeks. And I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. Like, a lot of people do esports, which I think speedrunning will become sort of like the NASCAR of esports, because like you're racing against the game, but also against competition. I've competed in a Simpsons Hit Run tournament recently, and right now there's an event happening called the 1545, where it's a big speedrun relay race, 13 games. Spyro the Dragon, Ripped His Rage, Year of the Dragon, Crash Bandicoot 2, 3, Banjo-Kazooie 2E, Donkey Kong 64, and Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1 and 2. Big relay race. It's like 48 or so hours. And tomorrow morning, I'll be doing Spyro 3 as part of that. So I love that gaming, especially like with using like Discord and the internet, like I'm competing with people from all over the world. There's people from Australia, Europe, America, South America too is represented in there. And so like never lose sight of the joy of gaming. I mean, that might evolve over time. Like, I find it very hard to just pick up a game and just sit there and be like, oh, unless it's like a really captivating game. I really enjoyed The Outer Worlds recently. Great game. Highly recommend it. Gripped me. But ultimately, with gaming, you don't have to do it a lot. There's so many like plugins and tutorials. Like there's a tutorial for literally almost anything you can think of to do in a game. It might not be it's probably not going to be exactly how you're doing it, but once you learn how to ask Google for what you're trying to do, you can just follow tutorials and have a game. And games don't have to be super expansive and like full of things. Like one thing I've really noticed last year since I started making games is that games are really good at faking like there's more than there actually is. Like, when you look at like DLC and like challenges and different missions, they're just the same thing, just with different waypoints. Like the content, like the gun skin it's the same gun, it's just a different skin that doesn't take very long. And that's what companies do. They they're like, what is the least amount of money I can pay to have something done for the maximum amount of profit? So that's why like skins are so good, especially for like a free-to-play game, because then people are buying the skins and there's millions of players. That's why Fortnite's so big. It's free. It's accessible. With gaming, the more accessible something is, the better chance it has. That's why VR hasn't taken off yet, because you got the headset, you got all the cables. You're like, oh my God, I'm tripping over myself. What is happening here? I mean, that should be changing. The Quest 2 came out, no wires, no cords. But, I mean, that's mostly just been used for business use cases. Let me check my notes, make sure I didn't forget anything. Yeah, fake it till you make it. That's a big lesson. That's one that I picked up very, 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 very early. Fake it until you make it. If you want to be an artist, if you want to be like a 2D artist or a 3D artist or a modeler, like obviously you have to have a portfolio, but like fake it till you make it. Like be confident in what you do and believe you can do. I mean, obviously, don't like charge an absorbent amount, per hour or however you do your pricing structure, but you can, like, as long as you can put yourself out there and project confidence. People like to see confidence, right? Like if somebody's going to hire somebody and that person is not confident, that person is, like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, geez. Yeah, if you're like season 1 through 3 Morty, right? If you're like all geez and all over the place. God, I'm so glad he doesn't know geez anymore. That was the most annoying thing. If that's you, you're not going to be successful, because people want people that believe in themselves. Because most of the time when people are hiring somebody, it's because 1, they don't have time or they're loaded, but 3, because they don't know what it is that you're doing. They don't know how to do that. They don't know how to program. They don't know how to art. They just have piles of money and they want more money. So they're going to hire programmers. So as long as you can project like you know what you're talking about with what they want, you've got a good chance of getting the job. And then, if they're paying you, you could figure it out as you go. Because like with any programming thing, any game thing, there's always new challenges. Every single project, usually within the first day or two, there's something that I've never done before. Like, oh, look at this entirely new concept. And then I pick it up, and then look, new concept in my toolbox. So that's why, like, if you're, you know, even middle school, like, if gaming is what you're passionate about, like, when I was 12, like, when I decided I wanted to make video games, we didn't have Unity, we didn't have Blender. Maybe we did, I don't know, but I didn't have a computer that could run it, that's for sure. Stay hydrated. But we have it all here today, and most of us, like, if your computer can run games, Minecraft, Fortnite, all those, if your computer can run those, you can make games. And don't start with something big. Don't start with your big dream game. Just like make something just for the giggles of it. Like, oh man, I want a game where you're a surfing turkey, and you call it Surfing Turkeys, and there you go. There's your game. Because comedy sells. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like games that have been made by indie studios over the years that have like really taken off, like Goat Simulator. Goat Simulator is one of the biggest releases of all time. And they nailed it on humor. There isn't anything super fancy about that game. It has a whole bunch of hilarious bugs. And so, you know, if you want to like sort of make a game and like have like a halfway decent chance of it selling, and you don't have a marketing budget, like, you know, man, I don't have a marketing budget. What's a marketing budget? Marketing's hard. Marketing's the hardest thing. Yeah, like, put out a funny concept. Like, one of our games was released in 8 hours, and it's called Turbo Hobo Cannon. Like, Jeff, like, I was sitting on my couch one Saturday, Jeff's like, hey, I need some bum noises. I'm like, you need what? I got you, bro, let's go. And so I put on my computer, and I started, and so that was just a kitty cannon clone. It's on Newgrounds, you can play it. It's very simple. You just tilt the cannon, you fire in the power, and you know, there's pea-stained mattresses to bounce off of, there's 40s in the sky to give you more boost, and there's needle piles to, you know, slow you down, which I think is real, it's very realistic. Actually, that's a funny story. When you make games, you have to deal with Apple. You have to deal with Apple. And Apple didn't like this game. They said, this targets a group of people, it's demeaning. We're like, but his name is Hobo, and he loves to be shot out of cannons. It is his favorite. So we changed the flavor text, and they're like, all right, fine. Get out of my face. And so, like, there's so much more that, like, goes into making video games than just coding. Like, it's, like, you know, one of the stereotypes I feel like is that you're just, like, in a coding dungeon 80 hours a week, hunched over. That's not the case at all. In March, I got to go to a sheep farm. We filmed a Kickstarter trailer for Sheep Tag 2. It was awesome. There was this deer that came up to me, and I got to pet it. I got to pet a deer. And so, when you do what you love, adventure will follow, right? Like as you make games, the kind of adventure you're looking for can and will come. Conventions are so important. Conventions, and not just like during the show floor, but after the convention's over, when everybody's relaxing, you know, like when we're all at the party, the after parties, the parties, when people sort of drop their professional facade, because, you know, like we all do it, we all like have this face we put on and, hello, I am at a convention, and then when we're partying, we're like, yo, what's up, dude? And so that's where you meet the fancy people when they're, well, yo, what's up, dude? Because people want to work with the people that they like. Like, I'm not gonna hire somebody if I don't like you. I'm not gonna talk to you if I don't like you, TBH. I'm super picky. Some people are more tolerable. I'm not. So, be likable. Like, be, and that doesn't mean like, read some book on, oh, how do I be likable? Just be yourself And if yourself isn't likable because you're a jerk, then improve. Something I do, every single person that I encounter that I talk to, I observe them and like their mannerisms and like how happy they are and like if they have found success, how have they found that success? And I always learn from that. And I take every advice I get and I'll pick it apart. I'll tell you the worst advice I ever got. My old youth pastor, I called him a couple years ago. And he told me, he said, if Bill Gates offers you a job for $10,000, right? 10,000, that's like, you can't live off of that. That you should take it. I'm sorry, what? Somebody wants to undervalue me that much and you want me to take it? That's cute. And so he said, yeah, if you like get in there, you impress him. Whoa, whoa, whoa. If he's paying me that much, he's not paying one iota of attention to me. There will be no chance to impress him. I would just be another slave in the cog of the machine of whatever it is he wants. It won't lead to anywhere. I promise. Now, if he had said 100,000, sure, absolutely. That's a-okay. That's juicy. I can have steak with that. Because you see, the better people treat you, the better they value you, right? Like the whole minimum wage thing, like if companies are only paying you minimum wage, they're not worth your time. They're literally saying, yes, we are legally not allowed to pay you any less, and this hurts us. And it's all your fault. And then they pit everybody against each other. They're like, oh my God, people making minimum wage are the bad thing. But no, they're not. They're not. It's the big companies that are the bad thing there. And so, avoid all of that by following your dreams. Take what you love and find ways to monetize it, right? So if you love games, make games. If you love movies, try to get into the acting. I mean, that's like a harder thing to break into, but it can be done. If you show up to like one of those things are impressive, that's where you have a chance to really make some headway. And then like go to like events, like, for the gaming, that's what we're talking about. Like come to things like this, go to Too Many Games, go to MagFest, go to, J1Con, go to PAX and E3. Although E3 isn't what it once was. But go, meet the people. Meet the people that do what you want to do. If you're a student, like obviously nobody's going to like hire you to be a full-time whatever. Learn. The International Game Developers Association, I was on their board in Baltimore for 2 years. I've had so many amazing people through that, and probably got about half of my contracts through there. So if gaming as a profession is what you want to do, look for more professional events. East Coast Games Conference is one. I spoke there 2 years ago. It was wonderful. We had a packed room. It was, oh my God, beautiful place. So many people show up to these things. And then try to be where the fancy people are. Try to schmooze your way in the VIP section. Rub some elbows. Talk. Because if somebody sees something in you that is impressive or that they want as quality as somebody to work for, then you're giving yourself a chance. I mean, also now with the internet, you don't even have to go anywhere to network. I mean, it's way better in person. I've had way more success personally in person, but make a LinkedIn page. Make a game on your own, without pay, without expect it to make $0. Go into it expecting this game to make $0. Just make something. And show it at conventions. That legitimizes you. That shows that, hey, we are real people. We really do this. Hire us. How am I doing on time? Oh, cool. 5 minutes. Any questions, comments, concerns, smart remarks? All right, cool. I'm just going to keep rambling for 5 minutes until somebody escorts me off of the stage. But yeah. What else do I want to tell you guys? Go to conventions, have adventures. There's just something special about being in a place like this with my fellow nerds, right? Because out in the world, there's so many people that aren't like us, they don't get us. And God, that was so difficult the last 2 years, not being able to go to conventions. I'm so happy to be back, surrounded by people. Like when I went to PAX the first time and I went down the escalator, just looking around, I uttered to myself, I was like, the land of my people, I am home. And so, if this is your happy place, go to as many of these as you can. And if you know you don't have money to afford all the tickets, volunteer. Like, it's super rewarding, and that's how you meet a lot of people too. If you're volunteering, if like you happen to be at a bigger event and you somehow luck out into working with guests, you might meet a fancy guest that way by volunteering. Exchange a few words, be like, yeah, my name is Jim and I'd like to make video games and here's my card with a fancy, I don't know, make something super like catchy. You know, augmented reality is a thing. Every single phone, like smartphone made in the last like 5 years, I think, can run augmented reality. Do like a thing with a card and like have a video pop up. That'll impress somebody. But yeah, I mean, first impressions matter. People take the first time they see somebody and that's like their vision of you. You know, obviously, like the longer you know somebody, their vision will change. But if that's their only impression of you, that's how they know you. So if you were fumbling over yourself, like, oh my God, what do I say? Maybe they don't remember you because there's so many people. But yeah, like if you're impressive, you show them a card, you show them confidence, then they'll remember you. And maybe. Question, yes. What? That's a good question. What game or game series inspired me and why? The moment I knew I was going to make video games, I was playing Ratchet & Clank Going Commando. They have a super amazing Easter egg that's only available on console time between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. called the Insomniac Museum. And in this place, it's literally a museum of things that were cut from the game, different features. There's like a lot of interactive things to play with. And when I was in there, I just knew, like that was when I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make video games. Like this is what I wanna do. All this behind the scenes stuff is really, really freaking cool. Holy cow, it's cool. So, yeah, and then, you know, there wasn't game design programs at the time, so in high school, I took the digital media program. I learned video editing, Photoshop, audio editing, web, like all that. And a lot of that actually translated pretty decently well to video game college. But like now, like you have the internet, you can download Unity and all that, and like literally, like there's so many great tutorial series, like, and like anything you want to make, if you want to make like green screen in a game, that's what I did the other day for my day job. They were like, yeah, we want 360 video, and we want this other one with green screen, so I figured out chroma key. Spoilers, it was just a plugin. I didn't have to do much. And that's the beauty of it. So many things are already made. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just grab the plugin and you have a game. It's so, so magical now. Like, once you like learn how the program works and you start messing around with stuff, like, yeah. I can be found on the internet. I haven't like had any actual business cards printed in a while, so like they're all outdated. But here, I have a business card with my Twitch, because yeah, I do the speed running. Tomorrow I'm doing 15:45, but twitch.tv/Bregermann. I'm Jeremy Bregermann. My email, bregermann@gmail.com. I'm very easy, it's just Bregermann. Whatever platform, Twitch, theta.tv, Twitter, Discord, Bregermann, #, whatever we call it nowadays, 2166. Send me a DM. I'm in over 100 Discord servers. I'm a lot of places. I like a lot of things. Yeah. So 15:45 happening right now. Team Updoggers for the win. I'll be playing Spyro 3 approximately 1 p.m. tomorrow. Hopefully earlier than that. That would mean that my team's doing good. Cool, so who do whew. So score touchdowns, enjoy StellarCon. Thank you for having us, APGFCU Arena. And also Delfino Customs makes the best PlayStation 2 and 3 controllers. Highly recommend.
Make sure they know they can meet you in the
Oh yeah, also the table. Thank you. Sweet, yeah. So there's this table over here, Transcendent Events, which is who brought us this wonderful event. Thank you. Get a hand for Transcendent Events. Woo! So I'll be over there taking your questions and whatever else you got, conversation. I brought my Switch. I could play something maybe. I don't know. I'll hand this off and. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys give a hand for Jeremy Bregermann, please.